Welcome to the Cause Effect 4.0, the podcast where we dive into forces reshaping the world through technology, innovation, and human ambition. I'm your host, Celina Lee, and in today's episode, we're heading into the fast evolving world of AI. My guest today is Christophe Zoghbi, founder and CEO of Zaka, an AI consulting and training company with a mission of democratizing artificial intelligence across the Middle East, North Africa, and beyond. Christophe has worked with leading global players like Microsoft, Samsung, and Saudi Arabia's Sadaya, while also building grassroots AI communities through workshops and talent platforms. His work spans computer vision, natural language processing, and deep learning, helping startups and enterprises alike unlock AI's potential. In this conversation, we'll explore how AI is transforming industries in the MENA region, the opportunities and challenges for startups, and what it means to build inclusive, accessible, and responsible AI. Welcome to the podcast, Christophe.
Thank you so much, Celina, for having me, and thank you for the lovely introduction.
Christophe, you've described your mission as democratizing AI in the MENA region, especially. So, what does this mean in practice, and how do you see this mission evolving, let's say, in the next 5 years?
Yeah, so the whole idea started when I got into AI myself more than 10 years ago, and I found my passion, if I can say this, and I found a great way to, build things and make computers do smart things. So I was absolutely amazed by, the power of data and machine learning algorithms and what they can do. And so I started by, creating a small community in Lebanon called Beirut AI to kind of share my knowledge. And this is where I discovered that there's a big gap between the hype of AI and then the actual implementation of AI. So everyone has heard of AI, everyone's excited about AI, but no one has any idea how to practically apply AI. That was back in 2017. So this is the idea of democratizing came from, right? It's basically helping people, understand and have the practical tools to apply AI in their work and their companies, etc. So that's kind of the idea, and we've been doing a lot of effort in that mission ever since 2017, from Beirut AI to later on founding Zaka and pushing this mission outside of Lebanon to the MENA region. And I see this mission nowadays more important than ever, because I'm sure you know that with Gen AI now there's a bigger part of people, there's a bigger chunk of audience that are really interested in AI, because prior to ChatGPT, only engineers and geeks were actually interested in AI because it was such a technical topic. But now everyone wants to use ChatGPT, use these Gen AI tools. Everyone wants to adopt, these smart tools to be efficient in their work. And so it's now more important than ever to actually, help people understand how to properly use these tools, how to properly implement or adopt AI in their lifestyle. So
You've been working with startups, with larger companies, with governments, especially to build their AI capabilities. What do you see as the biggest differences between these different groups in the way they think about AI skilling, AI adoption, and how has this all changed, as you said, with the introduction of ChatGPT in the last few years? What does this mean to these different groups?
yeah, I mean, prior to ChatGPT, most people were not really interested in AI. Like they're interested in maybe attending a talk or something, but when it comes to adoption and I need to do something about it, it was too far fetched for them, right? AI was science fiction. It was maybe robotics or whatever, something that's far fetched. After ChatGPT, this has changed, right? So individuals are looking more on the low hanging fruits, like how can I get AI to do most of my job for me so I can work less, which is totally fine, right? But this is usually how they approach it. They're very interested in using tools, automation, or AI tools to accelerate their work. Companies have a similar approach, but they care about efficiency, obviously. How can I produce more? How can I make my team more efficient, faster in delivering, cutting costs down? And it also reflects back into using the right tools, right? Upskilling their members to become efficient and using the right tools and using some automation and optimizing their workflow. And then the governments, it's usually uh, aligning with their national strategies. And I'm sure in the MENA region, have companies like, countries like Saudi Arabia or the UAE, which they have this Vision 2030 or 2040 or whatever it is, where they really care about upskilling all of their populations, about creating talent pools, about investing in AI startups. So their level of the way they approach things are a bit different. They care about the impact. They care about large scale capacity building, or at least impact at a bigger scale.
But
But
it feels like when people talk about AI skills, it can mean so many different things. They're casting a really wide net. At Zindi, we've been thinking a lot about the distinction between AI skills, meaning using AI versus building AI. And yeah, so I was wondering how you at Zaka think about those two concepts.
I agree with you. As I said, there's this turning point in history, which is ChatGPT, right? So prior to ChatGPT, AI was the technical AI. You get data, you clean the data, you build a model, you deploy that, and that's it. After that, AI is mostly using tools. Like even uh, most development teams sometimes don't need to actually train a model from scratch, right? You can just take a model that's out there, call it via an API, and then build some logic around it. Sometimes you might need to fine tune that model, but we're kind of outsourcing the intelligence layer, I would say, to these big companies, and then leveraging this to make everything else smarter. All of our software is smarter. So yeah, I mean, this is what I say when I mean use AI. So if you're a technical person, you can use AI to help you code, to help you to build your app around it. Or if you're a non-technical person, you can use AI as a tool, right, as an assistant to whatever, draft an email for you, brainstorm with you, whatever it is that you do. And in this case, let me just add one point that through our trainings recently, we've been doing a lot of industry specific and department specific training, meaning that when we go to a company, instead of delivering, let's say, a ChatGPT training for everyone, we focus it for the marketing department, and then for the HR department, and then for the legal department or finance. And so the use cases that come out of this are very specific to what they usually do. Um, and ChatGPT is one example of a tool, but we actually find different tools that cater for every department and the way they do things. And this reflects directly with the attendees because they understand it immediately, right? They see that, okay, here's a task that I normally do, and here's how I can do it better or faster with AI or with whatever tool we're using.
Yeah, but I'm curious, like, how different is it for a marketing person, say, or an accountant or a writer to use a tool like ChatGPT or some kind of AI powered tool versus just the normal evolution of adopting new types of software? Like, does it actually take a specific type of skill?
Uh, yes and no. So for people, some people do it on their own, and this is the type of skill that it's required, which is curiosity and willingness to try things, by yourself. So sometimes you go to companies, and we find already that some people they have adopted these tools since the beginning, like they're pro users of ChatGPT since the first version, right? And others have completely no idea how it works and why they should use it. So there's this discrepancy as well. Uh, but these champions, I would say they're rare. They're not the common people, right? Most people either don't care or are too afraid, or they don't know, they don't have the confidence to do it on their own. So they need someone to kind of guide them and tell them exactly how to do this, and give them the full picture. A lot of people think they use ChatGPT, for example, but they only use 5% of what ChatGPT can do. When you go into the different features it can do, paid version and the extra things, most people don't know about them as well. So there's a lot of effort that goes there as well.
True. Um, so AI definitely is a really powerful tool for efficiency and productivity. In the MENA region, it also has to operate at the intersection between with identity, community, local development. How do you see the cultural context in the MENA region shaping AI adoption or AI tools?
um, I mean, yeah, that's definitely correct. One of the main uh, issues maybe, or challenges I would say, and these things would be the Arabic language. So a lot of the tools, uh, they work great in English, but when you try to use them in Arabic they don't really work well. I mean, ChatGPT is definitely better than other tools, but if you talk about tools that transcribe meetings, for example, or tools that create images, like there's a lot of different issues there as well. And in fact, I am also part of a startup called the Middle Frame, where we're trying to tackle this issue of cultural difference. For example, if you go to ChatGPT and you ask it to give you an image of a, by the way, I'm always using ChatGPT as an example, but many of these LLMs, they also do the same thing. If you ask them to create an image of a Saudi person doing whatever, riding a camel, let's say, and then you say a Emirati person or a Lebanese person, they don't always understand the difference, right? They, like, an Arab person is an Arab person, but there's a big difference between this culture and that culture in the way they wear their clothes, their robes, everything else. So this lacks basically understanding of the culture, and comes from also lack of data that is accurate from the region. So we're trying to tackle this problem based on collecting data from photographers and from the region that are basically focusing on different cultures and different uh, differences that are very small for someone who's outside, but from the actual people, the locals, it's a big difference. The things they eat, the way they wear their clothes, it's a whole different thing. So that
Right.
maybe answers your question.
So is that startup that you're working on now? Yeah, where are you? And I mean, does that mean you'll be working on a product that'll
Yeah,
be?
exactly. We actually launched like a beta version of the product a few weeks ago. We're still trying to like refine the results, to be honest. So they're not perfect yet, but we're on a track to include that. The main issue, as you can imagine, is the data. So right now we don't actually have data for all of the countries. Our focus mainly is on Egypt and Saudi, and we're trying to collect and secure more data from different countries to actually make sure the results are more relevant to the culture, right? So
How do you see the role of grassroots movements, grassroots communities in accelerating innovation? And especially when you compare it, or how do you compare it to government initiatives or kind of more top-down types of initiatives?
I mean, I'm a big fan of communities because, to be honest, like this is how my story started, right? I never thought I would be doing what I'm currently doing, but it started with me, trying to build a small meetup to share news about AI with people, and then I discovered that there's a need, it grows. I love doing these things. I love sharing my passion for AI, and so Beirut AI grew to become this big community, and I wanted a way to scale that and make it more sustainable. And that's how Zaka, my company, was born. So I always say that community is at the heart of what Zaka does. And for me, it's also a great place that has taught me a lot because it's where I learned more about AI. Because people think that, you know, uh, like you can learn by attending a workshop, but you can learn twice as much by giving the workshop, right? By providing this information. So Beirut AI and the community was a place for me to actually push my knowledge even further, learn more things, and it's sharing knowledge with other people because you don't know everything, right? You can't do everything at once. So you meet people who have done similar things, and then you share lessons learned, you share examples, you share ideas. So it really taught me that um, when you have this community-led effort, it's a great way to push everyone, right? To like get everyone to be on the same place to help each other out, and it's been amazing so far. Not just for me, for everyone in the community, because we had a lot of people who met their co-founders, who met their their clients, their business partners. Like it's a place to connect people, and that's the beauty of the communities.
What skills do you believe will be most critical for the next generation of AI leaders in MENA? And how is Zaka helping cultivate them?
Oh, that's a very good question. I mean, when it comes to leaders, they should definitely have a mindset that is kind of adapting to change, right? And that is technology first, in my opinion. Like you need to have, first of all, digital literacy. Obviously, that's like a given, but also AI literacy as well, right? So we cannot operate nowadays without thinking some layer of AI, what it is, how it works, how you can benefit from it. You don't have to be a technical person or know how to code or build AI, obviously not, but understand what it is and how you can benefit from it because there's no business, there's no industry, there's no idea that doesn't benefit from some form of AI. So I would say digital and AI literacy would be like a very essential skill for everyone. And then maybe having the ability to like experiment and try things and shift shift the way you think. Don't assume that the same way we used to do business is going to be the same way we'll do business in the future, because AI is changing all of that, right? uh, AI tools, I'm not saying that AI will replace people, definitely not, but it's definitely like lowering the threshold of what one person can do by themselves, right? Like, I'm not a graphic designer, but I can go to a lot of these tools nowadays and create many things that would get me to a decent, let's say, landing page, right? Of course, it's not going to replace a properly built website, but if I want something quick and easy and simple, because I want to launch a product really fast, I can do that. Same thing with coding or with other things. So it's empowering people, and this means that you can do much more. Like, you can think about it from a negative perspective and say AI is replacing people and be kind of pessimistic. But if you see the optimism in this and the bright side, it's actually empowering, right? It's empowering people to do more with less resources.
Yeah.
So that's it. Just have this shift in mindset and then use it.
So you recently launched Seeds. What is that? How does that program work? And how does that fit into what we're just talking about now?
Oh, that's very important, because actually what happened is we've been doing AI trainings for a long time, like 6, 7, 8 years now, and we've done it across different age groups, but we've actually never really properly built a training program for K-12 schools, right? So kids in K-12. So we looked at this 2 years ago, almost a year and a half, and we decided to build a curriculum that teaches AI to kids at school, because we've seen that kids are already using these tools at the school. Teachers have no idea what's happening. That's the weird part. They're freaking out. We've had a lot of webinars and talks with teachers, and we see them like they have no idea what's happening. No one's teaching them about AI. Their students are using it already in
The
class.
students are
They're
teaching
cheating on their
them.
assignments. They're doing everything, and no one has any idea what's happening. The schools are freaking out. Teachers are scared and I don't know, confused. So we were like, okay, let's build this curriculum. So we started with a curriculum for kids, and then we ended up building a program that teaches educators what is AI and how AI works, because we've realized that you cannot integrate AI into schools without empowering educators first. Because again, we're not trying to replace educators with AI. We actually want to empower them, give them the tools they need to remove all of this admin work that they do and focus on the teaching part, right? So our Seeds initiative has three main components. We have the Seeds curriculum, which is the curriculum for students from grade 4 to grade 12. That is fully like a full course, one session per week for the whole academic year. There's a lot of hands-on activities you do, a lot of projects you get to build, and you interact with a lot of tools. Second component is the Seeds Educators, which is a training program for all educators to help them understand AI and use AI tools in their, creating lessons, generating assessment, quizzes, feedback, lots of things that you can leverage AI to help you with those things. And then we have the Seeds Hub, which is the online platform that gives the students the tools they need to use and teaches the tools and content they need to actually train people on AI and other topics.
I'm curious, especially from the perspective of the MENA region, what industries do you think are most ripe for disruption by AI?
I don't think like that. No clear industries come to mind, to be honest. Like, definitely these are the ones ripe. I feel like wherever I look, I'm seeing disruption and I'm seeing people adopting AI. Like, you'd be surprised the different verticals that I'm seeing. Like healthcare, I see a lot of examples there. In media, we just had a company that's like a production company that works on those, large production shows and events, and they want to integrate AI as well. And we did like this whole project with them where we delivered training for specific teams, including production, post production, casting team. What is AI for them? How they can leverage some tools to be more efficient. Um, I see examples in the education sector, obviously in media. Um, so yeah, I don't think there would be like a specific industry that would be mostly benefiting from this, as much as long as they are willing to like change the way they do things and update their processes a bit. I think they would benefit from adopting AI.
Yeah, I am curious now, with the courses that you give or all the different trainings that you give at Zaka, how do you see the split between, I guess, like non-technical training versus technical? So mostly non-technical now.
Absolutely. It's like I would say 80%, 75% is non-technical because if you think about it, the like how many people you know that are technical versus non-technical? It's like 5% of the population are engineers and coders, and 95% are everything else, if maybe even more. So definitely
Yeah,
that's
and
the
for
right split.
before ChatGPT, it was probably the other way around, wasn't it? Or practically 100% technical training.
It was 100%, yes.
Yeah.
Because we used to go and deliver these trainings to companies, but it was just like an awareness training. Like, here's what AI is, right? But I would not teach a person from the marketing team to get a data set and build a model and clean the data. And they wouldn't care, right? They'd be bored. But now I can actually give them a tool they can use and give them examples on that tool. And at the end of the workshop, they end up with an actual thing they can do.
in in the African context, a lot of startups do feel pressure to have some kind of or have a westernized or white co-founder in the company in order to be able to gain trust from particularly investors. I was curious if you've seen or experienced a similar dynamic in the Middle East context, and if so, why do you think that this kind of thing persists? And what do we have to do to break that cycle?
That's a very interesting. I did not know this about the context of the African startups, by the way, but I can relate to what you're saying because I feel like also in the MENA region, they have this, like, I've heard it being called the blue eyed syndrome, which is like foreigners, right? They trust foreigners more than they trust locals, um, which is very, like, I've personally felt it, right? I'm a Lebanese guy. When I speak with my fellow Lebanese companies or even in the region, it's different than if someone from the US, let's say, or whatever, from Europe comes and says this. For some reason, we don't have this trust. Um, and obviously that's a bad thing because like I know what I'm capable of, I know what the team is capable of, I know that it's literally the same thing. Like we might be living in different countries, but we have the same experience, we've learned the same things, we can apply the same ideas and come up with the same things. So how to solve this? I think we need just a bit more trust into each other, and I don't know, maybe eventually we'll have to do that because what I always say is that like we cannot rely on people to solve our problems, right? No one from outside will understand our local problems. You need local people to solve local problems, and that's something I've always mentioned. So sure, you can get someone or you can buy a product that is built by a company, let's say in Silicon Valley or whatever, but is this really something that's going to solve exactly what you're looking for? Definitely not. So at some point you're going to have to trust someone local who understands your culture, who understands your challenges, who has lived through the same problems to actually help you solve those things. um, I don't know how to solve it. I'm just hoping a bit more trust, and with time it can be solved. um, but I can definitely understand the problem because
With
I've
so much focus on the potential of AI, what types of risks or misconceptions do you worry about most, particularly for emerging markets?
um, yeah, so I love to get people excited about AI, but sometimes you have to kind of do the opposite and get the hype down and can focus on what actually AI can do. Because AI is, by the way, AI is a big term, right? We always say AI, but I'm sure you know that it means there's a million things that can mean AI, from the basics, data science and analytics, all the way to LLMs, ChatGPT, deep learning, whatever. And so sometimes companies and managers like they just want to use AI to solve a certain problem, but it's not actually doable, right? It's not magic. You have to understand the capabilities and the limitations of this technology. And so, yeah, this is one of the dangers, which is to really understand what it can do and what it cannot do, and not be too ambitious in your goals and setting your like what
Yeah,
you want to
and then
achieve with AI.
And then what about when you think about the regulatory environments, the infrastructure or lack of infrastructure in some of these markets? What, yeah, I mean, do you see any certain risks or what role should the government be playing in this sense?
Uh, in terms of regulations, definitely there's a lack of regulation, right? I mean, globally, we just started to get some form of laws and the regulations around that. So there's a lot to be done in different areas of the world, of course. Infrastructure is something that I personally really connect with because I'm from Lebanon, where we not even have electricity 24/7, right? So there's a lot of infrastructure to be built if you want to see, proper implementation of AI. Um, and I'm sure this is also a similar problem in different countries in the region. And one of the things that I don't know if it's the same in Africa, but it's in the MENA region, which is disparity between the different countries. Like you cannot say, like Saudi and UAE are on a plane or on a level, and then Lebanon and maybe Jordan on a different level, and Egypt and whatever. So it's not the same. Like some of them are really advanced, others are not advanced at all. Maybe it's the same in Africa as well.
Absolutely. Definitely. Sure. So just finally, if you could paint a picture of the AI ecosystem, okay, and now we said MENA is very diverse, but in MENA, and even considering all the diversity within that, let's say by 2030, what would it look like? What are your hopes for the region?
Um, I'm gonna maybe repeat what I just said earlier, but my hopes is that we will have local people building local solutions for local problems, right? This is very important. And you kind of see it a little bit with the LLM's approach, where countries are building their own large language models that reflects their own culture. But again, it doesn't have to be just LLMs. It can be a bit bigger than this. We need to be, hopefully, producers of technology, not just users of technology, right? We're great at using a technology that's built, buying something that someone else has made, but hopefully we can build it ourselves. So my hope is that we can build technology and we can use it across different people, like spreading the democratization of AI knowledge and tools across all layers, from kids in school to lawyers to people working in marketing and finance and HR, whatever. People need to be, uh, connected to this technology and leveraging the power of AI, because it really can make, like, if used in the right way. Let me just put it that in this way: if used correctly, AI can really empower us to do a lot more and be more productive and more efficient. So hopefully, we'll have this message and use it for the right reasons.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Christophe, for joining me. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.